boys and girls, and all of God's children. Welcome to the Church School Neighborhood. I'm Sister Angie Spears, the excited South District Church School Superintendent, and my presiding elder is the Reverend Janet Jenkins Sturdivant of the South District of the Philadelphia Annual Conference. Again, we welcome you today, and what a wonderful, wonderful lesson we have. Our special word for today is forget. Forget. And our message is do not forget. And both Patches and Buttercup have great examples that they understand our message for today. Do not forget. As a matter of fact, Buttercup, why don't you share with us? Buttercup says, and it was actually him and Daisy together in this example. Buttercup says that one night he went to spend the night with a friend, even though it was a school night. They were working on a school project together, and it was agreed that he would stay the night with the friend and go to school the next morning with the friend. Well, that next morning, the mom gave Daisy the house key and said, Daisy, when you see your brother at school, make certain to give him the key. And the reason Mom had to run some errands, and she was like, what if I get tied up in traffic, beyond my control? I want them to be able to get in the house. So that was the job. Daisy was told, do not forget to give your brother the key when you see him in school. Well, guess what? Daisy had a great day at school that day, and everybody's like, Daisy, Daisy. She had a wonderful, popular day, talking with friends and socializing. She totally forgot to give Buttercup the key. So when Buttercup got home, when he got off the bus and came to the house, the door was locked. He saw his mom's car wasn't there. And it was quite a while before Mom pulled up. There really was an accident on the way, so she was much later, and she wasn't happy. So when Daisy comes home, the first thing she hears is, Daisy, I told you not to forget. And Buttercup was very sad. And the mom says, what if something had happened to your brother? You can't, I told you not to forget. Well, she didn't get a spanking because she had forgotten, but she hadn't intended to forget. So she didn't get a spanking, but she didn't get ice cream either after dinner. Excellent, excellent example of do not forget. And then Patches, what is your example? Well, as you know, Patches has the two grandfathers. One lives in the city and one has the farm. Well, the grandfather with the farm, he told Patches, he says, listen, you're getting big enough. If you want to go fishing some mornings before I can come down there, go right ahead. But whatever you do, there was one area on the pond that he says, don't even go in that area for any reasons, Buttercup. It's not really safe. Well, Buttercup was fishing, and he couldn't find a place that he felt comfortable. He wasn't catching any fish. Guess what he did? He went over by that area, and what do you think happened? He looked up, and he heard it. It was an alligator, an alligator coming behind him. Boy, he took off, he left his rod and everything, and he ran home. And he understood why his grandfather had, we'll just say, commandments. God has commandments for our good. Grandpa was telling him not to do something for his own good. He had to find out the hard way because he didn't obey. So let's go into our lesson today. Our lesson is, let's remember God's blessings, and we're in the book of Deuteronomy, the 8th chapter, verses 1 through 11. And Deuteronomy is written mostly by Moses. You know who Moses is? He's the one who led the people through God out of Egypt. He followed God's commands, and he's also the one who went up into the mountain and gave the people the commands from God on the tablets, the 10 Commandments. So today's lesson, let's remember God's blessings. Moses is talking to the people and he's telling them, never forget all the wonderful things that God has done for us. Remember the long way that the Lord your God has led you these 40 years in the wilderness. This is verse 2 of chapter 8. In order to humble you, testing you to know what was in your heart, whether or not you would keep his commandments. And they were on their way to the promised land, and it took them 40 years to get there. But it was mostly God was testing them as well to say, are they going to listen? Are they going to always obey my commandments? And then in verse 3, Moses says, be humble. He humbled you by letting you hunger, then by feeding you with manna, with which neither you nor your ancestors were acquainted, in order to make you understand that one does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. The clothes on your back did not wear out, and your feet did not swell these 40 years. So these are all the things that God did to show them, I am your father. I will take care of you. And what did he do? He made certain that their clothes didn't wear out, their feet didn't get swollen through all of that. When there was no food, God dropped food out of heaven for them. And Moses is saying, never forget and always, always follow God's commandments. And we'll go to verse 6, which is our memory verse. Therefore, keep the commandments of the Lord your God by walking in his ways and by fearing him. And then when we go to verse 11, this is the memory verse from the adult text. And that's the one we're going to use today. Take care that you do not forget the Lord your God by failing to keep his commandments, his ordinances, and his statutes, which I am commanding you today. So let's take a look at that memory verse. And it's Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 11a. So it's just the first part. Take care that you do not forget the Lord your God by failing to keep his commandments. And who's talking? It's Moses telling the people, do not forget. Can you fill that out with us? Take care that you do not the Lord your God by failing to his, can you fill that out with us? Take care that you do not forget the Lord your God by failing to keep his commandments. And that's Deuteronomy 8, verse 11. I know you're going to enjoy the lesson in your church school class this week. And we trust that you'll join us on the following week, on next week. Our lesson will be from the book of Matthew in the New Testament. And the title is King Jesus Enters Jerusalem. And we'll be in Matthew, the 21st chapter. And as you can tell from this title, we're getting close to Easter. Easter this year is going to be April the 17th. So until next week, have a blessed, blessed week. Be blessed. God bless you. Bye-bye.